Hello everybody, this is Tim here again, here with another movie review, this time for the new Fear Street 1994, Part 1 on Netflix. The Fear Street books are pretty much a slightly older, young adult book series written by R.L. Stine, who also did the Goosebumps books. I like R.L. Stine. I haven't read a lot of Fear Street, I've read more Goosebumps, that's what I kind of grew up with, but I've heard the Fear Street is obviously for a slightly older audience, more for a young adult audience, maybe 14, 15, 16, something like that. That would probably be close to the age range, maybe like ninth grade in high school or something. But yeah, as far as this movie goes, it's pretty much about this chick who actually is a lesbian in the movie, and you don't actually know she's a lesbian. I like how they kind of play with the tricks, play with your mind a little bit because they're trying to trick you into thinking she's straight. That's the dude that she's had a bad relationship breakup with, but come to find out, no, it's the girl Sam, which I actually liked. I like that trick. And I don't mind the fact that the girl's a lesbian. In today's time, it is very easy to get like extremely woke, and I know that's a thing that's been entirely beaten to death in entertainment and movies and just people talking about it online. Listen, when it comes to film, everything in film, like films do have agendas. All movies do. Friday the 13th movies, when they're loaded with girls' breast shots, those are specifically there because they're playing to a male crowd for the men. And the same thing with movies with shirtless dude shots. That's for the women. Those are playing to a female audience. Every movie has an agenda in some way, shape, or form. I have no problem with lesbian character in a movie. I will say this though: the movie did start to get a little preachy, a little bit much with its like outsiders are cool theme it had going on. It did start to get there a little bit because the main girl has like a little brother or whatever who's like this little fat kid, and there's like this black haired girl in the movie or whatever, and she's got like this white friend or whatever who's like this comedy relief boy. He was a little annoying in the movie, but I started to warm up to him later on when he started to make me laugh. And the movie, before I get to, I was going to say the movie starts out with like a homage to Scream. It is a little bit too much close to like mimicking Scream, and I get it. It's supposed to be a homage to Scream because that's what R.L. Stine does in his books. He homages a lot of other stuff, like Slappy the Dummy from Goosebumps is clearly like a knockoff of Chucky. Okay. And here he pretty much homages Scream, where it's like a killer in a skeleton mask who's running around the mall and like kills this girl. And you think this is pretty much going to be the whole story, like a slasher movie or whatever. And it still kind of is a slasher movie, but it's much more supernatural. It's about this town where a witch is pretty much like cursed it. And she possesses like random people, and when they get killed, they come back as like zombies. She has them like take people out. We never really find out why the girl at the beginning in the mall was taken out, because we find out later on in the movie that the reason the killers are pretty much coming after people, the zombie killers, is because like the girl Sam or whatever that the main girl has like a thing for, who like they had a breakup or whatever. She touched her skeleton and like bled on it or something and disturbed her grave somehow when they accidentally crashed into it in their vehicle. And she's caused the witch to take revenge on all her friends pretty much. And so it's still kind of a slasher movie, but got like the supernatural bent to it, like these zombie people like running around. I will say this movie is still, despite the fact that it's rated R, it is still kind of too tame. Like they throw in a lot of cussing in this movie almost to remind you that, yeah, this is for a slightly more adult crowd than Goosebumps. But at the same time, though, they start to beat the cussing kind of over the head in the movie. And I have no problem with swearing. I mean, swear away, I have no problem with it. But after a while, it did start to feel like they were just kind of swearing just to swear, and it wasn't really funny, like they were just saying it just to say it, just to get that R rating, to let you know this is for a slightly older crowd. Because it takes forever to really get to any kills in this movie after the beginning of the movie. And when you finally do get to some kills, like towards the, I was starting to get kind of really bored of this movie towards the middle. But when you get to the kills at the end with the climax, when they're fighting inside this convenience store or whatever, and like one of the chicks gets like her head put through like a meat shredder, the gore is nice, but at the same time the camera just pulls away right when it starts to get really good and tasty. So this movie still doesn't have a hard enough R to it in terms of the violence and stuff. It almost felt like they put the cussing in there to kind of even it out, you know. Um, to keep things to get to make you feel like it's more edgy than it is. But they should have focused more on the gore. I didn't like that. They shied away from the gore too much. Somebody might say, well, that's a tribute to the 90s horror movies, you know, that didn't have a lot of gore or as much gore as the 80s. But I don't care. I want some gore. I didn't like that in the 90s either. So, yeah, you got that. Pretty much the white guy did kind of warm up too, because he did start to, he was around so long I started finding him funny, and he ends up getting killed finally with like an axe to the head. Another girl, black haired girl, gets like put through a meat shredder. They have to end up killing the girl Sam and then resuscitating her or whatever by CPR. They drowned her. it's a pretty decent scene, but you know where it's going. That she's going to get brought back because she gets drowned or whatever. You know what's going to happen. You know it's not going to end on too much of a that much of a ballsy ending for an R.L. Stein novel. You know where it's going to be like everybody dead, but the main girl or whatever, including her brother, gets killed as well. It's not that ballsy. It's still a young adult horror movie. You get to the end, you think everything's going to be all right, but then the girl Sam gets possessed by the witch to still try to take revenge on everybody, and she actually walks in there and like stabs the main girl in the gut, who's like this black chick who her acting was good, but she gets stabbed in the gut, and they could have been ballsy here, and I would have liked it if she would have died as well, but she didn't. But she kind of just gets stabbed in the gut, and just you think she might be dead. You think it might end ballsy with the possessed girl like walking there and like slitting the little fat kid's throat. I started to think it was going to do that, but no, it doesn't go that far. I wished it would have. That would have separated it from more of a young adult horror movie into more of an adult horror movie, or at least one more for both audiences. But instead, no, the black chick survives, ties the Sam girl up. She walks in there to her brother, talks about we need to find the other survivor of the witch that was back in 1978, and you get like that's where it ends on a cliffhanger, which most R.L. Stein novels like ends on a cliffhanger. I don't have a problem with that, but I would have liked it better if like the main girl got killed as well, and like we would have seen the possessed girl walking there to kill the fat dude, and then that's when it would have just cut off. You know, I would have liked that better. But no, they you see like a post credit scene or an after credit scene or whatever, or right after it cuts to black anyway, where they walk in there and are talking to like the one of the previous survivors from 1978 and all that, and they're like, "Well, how did you get away? We got to figure out a way to get the witch out of her body and all that shit." And then it shows scenes from what's going to be the sequel to this, which is actually going to be a prequel sequel because it's going to take place in 1978. And I'm guessing that one's going to be more of a tribute to like 80s slasher flicks and everything. And that's another problem with this movie. It's supposed to take place in 1994, and that's what it's called. But at the same time, it feels much more like an 80s film. Um, uh, but yeah, and that didn't really bug me. But at the same time, if it's called 94, why is it not more 90s? But whatever. All in all, I'll give this a 3 out of 4. I thought this was a good, solid young adult horror flick, but it is definitely made for more of a kid audience, um, which doesn't make me mad or anything. I was just kind of disappointed. I expected something a little bit more edgy. As it is, it's fine. It's good. I liked it. Would I watch it again? Probably not. Will I watch the sequels? Yes. Would I pick this up if I found it for cheap? Yeah, probably for like a few dollars. Uh, Assuming it gets a DVD release or Blu-ray release or whatever. I'm not sure how Netflix does its movies. I think most of them don't get actual releases or physical copy releases. But would I watch it? Well, I guess I would probably watch it again if I was like marathoning the whole trilogy because we're going to get 2 more of these to make it a circle. Uh, but yeah, all in all, it's good. It's fine. I liked it. That's why I give it a 3 out of 4. It's a solid young adult horror movie. I'm just kind of getting too old for this type of stuff, and I know that's probably one of the reasons like Stranger Things is so popular and all that. But I'm just kind of getting too old for this kind of stuff. I'm kind of aging out of that range. But for what it is, it's a 3 out of 4. It's good. If you like R.L. Stein books like Goosebumps and Fear Street and all that, you should like this. And even I enjoyed it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.